Okay, so I've just taken some notes for a rough draft video, and I'd like to expand upon this intervention at some point when I have more time available. But the improvised title for this is going to be Cheap Trauma Management for the Working Poor, okay? Now, as a disclaimer, I'm not a mental health professional, and I'm not somebody with credentials in pharmacology or other disciplines that are relevant to what I'm mentioning. I'm just somebody who likes experimenting to improve his health and who has noted trends in what works for both myself and other people, okay? So here we go. This is meant for people who don't trust therapists, psychiatrists, or psychologists. It's meant for people who worry about going homeless several times a month. Okay, you gotta be honest. And it's meant for people who frankly know that they have seen or experienced too much, especially in their upbringing. This could include beatings, property damage, molestations, spiritual bypassing, constant theft, gun violence, gang violence, alcoholic family members, all kinds of problems. So this is specifically intended for people who know they've seen too much, and as a result today, let's say you're 20-something, 30-something, 40-something, they feel frequent, if not constant, hypervigilance. Maybe they suffer from dissociation or derealization when they don't want to, when it makes them suffer. And most importantly, for the kinds of people I want to address, although they're not the only ones I want to help right now, you use more than one addiction to help you cope with a troubled mind and a damaged nervous system. So here I'm thinking of standard vices involving alcohol, marijuana, gambling, video games, junk food, caffeine, whatever, you know. I myself am somebody with a vice or two, so I'm not somebody who is spotless and sinless, okay? Uh, so here we go. Now, first, before I begin, I want to say you want to discuss these implements with a doctor, or if you're not going to do that, if I can't stop you from just going forth and rushing to buy and try different things, sample them very slowly, okay? Probably on a one at a time basis. If you're really a risk taker, maybe a two at a time basis. But you don't want to bludgeon your system with all of these things because neither I nor you are aware of exactly how they'll interact with your particular body or interact with each other before they cause some sort of an issue in your body. So just be very careful. So here are some implements that might help you. First, I keep mentioning this one, but chamomile tea, okay? I drink a lot of that stuff, and I'm probably going to be drinking it for life. Also, there are other kinds of teas you might find helpful, like this is, hang on, this is a stress relief tea from the company Yogi. So that comes with ashwagandha, which is a calming agent, and I found it to be very useful. A former coworker mentioned that to me, and thankfully it's been salubrious within my own lifestyle. Another implement you might want to use, and this will give you multiple bathroom trips, so be careful, is magnesium citrate, especially if you get a calming version of that. Another tool you may want is L-theanine powder, which is a concentrated form of something that naturally occurs in, I think, green tea. And then you also may want something like a time-release B12 supplement. Deep breathing exercises, tension-releasing muscle postures, and in my case, possibly in your own case, something like iron pills. Not only might that address certain deficiencies in your diet, but it leaves me energized enough to do mental and physical work, and through that I get a lot less stressed out, and a lot less susceptible to bed rotting all day. So, to be clear, I have not been exhaustive in this list of implements that might help you. It's non-comprehensive, it's kind of rushed. But once you have a self-relaxing regimen that suits your budget, okay, and it doesn't involve all the unwelcome side effects of, say, psychiatric medications or modalities of therapy that you'd rather not put up with, you will be a lot less likely to resort to dramatic actions to soothe yourself and escape pain, you know. So it's often been said that self-deletion is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And while that may be true to a lot of people on an intellectual level, in order to feel in their bodies that their problems are merely temporary, they need some kind of state change that introduces them to a level of calmness that they've never known in their entire life. And some of the implements I've mentioned here might synergistically work together if you're fortunate and you're careful about how you implement them in order to introduce you to a state of like whole body calmness that you're not accustomed to, that you didn't even think was humanly possible for you. And then you will understand that, self-deletion is wholly impractical for me and you and most of us out there who are working and we don't have crippling addictions to really hard drugs, okay? Now, here's a point I want to end this video on, and I think this is kind of under-discussed in certain online mental health spaces and subcultures, and it's that talk therapy, or what I prefer, which is straight talk with a guy friend, will be a lot easier. It'll be much, much easier, much more approachable when you are calm, when you are present, when you are relaxed, when you're not ruminating, when stress and tension has been released from your body, okay? You don't have to do anything expensive to attain relief from the burdens that torment you, unless you do have some kind of affliction, that makes you prone to polarized emotional states or psychosis or something intense like that. So I'm just making this in a bit of a rush because I know that wages are not keeping up with inflation, and so people have to improvise and get creative and inventive in order to solve their issues. So this is not necessarily an original idea, but what's important about it is hopefully it'll legitimize people's impulses to soothe and help themselves without resorting to yet another malignant addiction, or just this idea that, I can just use Stoic philosophy alone to suppress and contain my burgeoning negative emotions. Like, no, you can actually release the tension, anger, stress, etc. that's lodged in your nervous system, your body, and thereby not even have to suppress anger in the first place, So a good deal of what we consider moral failures on a lot of people's parts are the product of things like nutritional deficiencies, insufficient or too much caffeine, insufficient or too much sleep, and a bad diet, like all kinds of problems that we typically don't address in common conversation. So this is just submitting a bit of a consciousness raiser into, the public space where the working poor tends to speak amongst itself of its problems, okay? So I don't know. That's all I have to say for now, okay? Take care of yourselves. Stay compassionate toward yourselves, all right? Thank you for watching and have a good day, and God bless you.